Today, we're talking about on camera presence and specifically how to retain that authenticity and magnetism with the camera, with your viewers, even when you're using a script generated by AI. So, if that sounds good to you, let's get into it. Look, I get it. In 2026, we are all using some form of AI in our content creation process. It's become survival, especially for business owners who are busy and want to churn out content and be efficient and attract clients with that content. You don't always know the right things to say. You don't always know how to say it in a way that gets people to take action. AI is great for all of that stuff, but what I'm noticing as a former television reporter and someone who's been doing video for 2 decades, long before AI came along, and since AI came along, I'm just seeing people make the same mistakes over and over again that just rob them of the soul and personality that is really going to make a difference in their content. So I've got 8 skills that you either must develop or work on refining if you want to be one of the winners in this AI age. And you're going to want to stick around for number 7 because this one is really going to make a difference for you. So the first one is belly projection. Now this is where you're not speaking from up here because that makes you sound a little bit unsure of yourself. And this is important because I find a lot of people when they start to read scripts generated by AI, they're more reading them and they're not thinking about really delivering to the camera. Make no mistake, this isn't about performing. It's just about commanding the lens. And you do that by rolling your shoulders back. See, I'm not editing out that screw up. This is real. You know I'm not a bot. You roll your shoulders back and you really speak from your belly. You project your voice, you project that confidence. This one I call the authority pause. And by authority, I mean it really does help you land a point. One thing that AI scripts have done to the way that people speak on video is it's given them these artificial places to pause. You know those M dashes that we all hate in ChatGPT scripts? Well, they also give you a place where you suddenly stop to take a breath. But when I reviewed clients' scripts that they wrote with ChatGPT, I saw that the M dashes or the pauses were placed in the wrong spot. How do you know where you're supposed to pause? This is where the soul, the personality, the real you comes through. I want you to practice saying your script out loud, and that way you're going to know exactly the points where you need to pause. 2 reasons we want to pause. Number 1, catch your breath, right? You don't want to be constantly like out of breath as you're talking. But number 2 is that pauses are very effective to land a point. And so I encourage you to think about where you can use these authority pauses to get your audience to feel things, to really reflect on things, and to make your content land better, to have a higher impact. Number 3, eye contact, but not like you would think. If you've been watching me through this video, you're probably not even picking up on this, but I look off camera every so often because when you talk to someone in real life, you don't lock eyes with them like this, like you're a robot and never take your eyes off the screen. You look around for inspiration. Maybe you're at a coffee shop, you look at a person at another table as you're making a point. It's okay to leave the lens for a time to land your point, but you still have to lock eye contact with the lens because it's the equivalent of making eye contact with a person. It's also a telltale sign that you're not reading a script, right? Because if you're reading a teleprompter, if you look away for a second, when you come back, you may have lost your spot, or maybe it's still on what you just said. If you're looking away, it shows you're being natural. And I've seen this with so many YouTubers, even the ones who are using teleprompters. They'll only look away for a quick second because I know they're reading. And I know you're reading if you're using one too. If you've been following me for a while, you know I hate teleprompters. So that's why I'm always saying these things. Looking away like that not only shows that you're natural when you're speaking to a camera, makes you more engaging, helps you build a personal brand. It shows that you're confident and that you're thoughtful. It subliminally signals those things. This next one is the one you're really going to want to master if you're looking to build authority and credibility and maybe get on some stages and become a speaker. Number 4 is varying your verbal range. You speak a little bit louder for something, and then maybe you lower your voice a little bit when you're talking about something else. You speed up when you're talking, but sometimes you slow down. If you watch people who are really effective public speakers on stage, they do this with their voices. They also do this with their bodies. They'll walk to the front of the stage, pause for a second, land a point, and then walk backwards and then walk to another part of the stage. When we're on camera, we can't do that, right? Because we're like, we got to lock it off. We can move, don't get me wrong, we're not stiff as a board, but that's why you need to use your voice. Your voice has to do the heavy lifting when your body can't move that much on camera. So the vocal variety is so important here because this is how you get your audience to sit up and listen when you're making a point that really needs to land, or maybe when you start talking a little bit quieter. If they were doing something else, they turn and they're like, wait a second, she's quiet. Like, what is she saying? Because maybe you're landing a very important point or a sensitive point or something like that. See, the thing about AI scripts is they have a very predictable pacing. They're rhythmically perfect. Say that 3 times fast. Rhythmically perfect. They have same pace, same tone, same energy. I have a whole other video, by the way, about ChatGPT cliches that you must avoid in your scripts. And in that video, I created a special resource to help you train your ChatGPT to not talk like that. It's in the description below, and I highly recommend you grab it. It's completely free. But those types of patterns and cliches then make you talk in a way that makes you seem completely inauthentic. And this is the danger that so many creators and business owners are in 2026 when I'm recording this, because it just doesn't sound natural. So if you're going to use ChatGPT to help you with your script or write your script, I'm not judging that. I do that too, but I don't then go and read it. So what I would recommend you do is take a paragraph, read it out loud, kind of get familiar with it, and then say it again to the camera without looking at your notes. Guaranteed you'll use different words, you'll emote differently, and you'll speak differently. And that's where you're going to come across as more authentic and more human. Number 5 is the one-person shift. You may have heard this one before, but when you're speaking to a camera, you don't want to be speaking to a whole room of people. Imagine that there's just one person on the other side of the lens. The way that AI usually structures scripts is almost like you're giving a presentation. And when you have that kind of mindset, you speak differently. It's almost like you're performing, like you're trying to give a presentation. And that is not what's going to convey that authenticity and humanity on camera. So I recommend that you kind of strip away that formality, especially if you're in a niche where there's a lot of technical speak or jargon or words that don't sound conversational. I challenge you to, and I don't want to say dumb it down because that's not what this is. It's about using words that people normally use in a conversation and speaking to the lens as if you're speaking to a friend. So if you have to put a sticky note of someone's face, a little smiley face, a picture of someone you know, your dog, whatever, next to the lens or right behind the lens to remind you of that, then go for it. I have clients that do that, and it's amazing how much of a difference it makes. Number 6 is micro movements. If you watch some of those cringy AI avatars, they have very robotic movements. They are getting better, and I will admit that there are some incredible, almost human-like avatars. But there's something about the human movement, the human form, how you roll your shoulders back, maybe how your hair moves when you move your head, how you use your hands in a more natural way that's not as robotic as some of those AI avatars that we see. Those micro movements, and I'm not saying move a ton in the frame because you really don't want to do that, but having micro movements, especially hand gestures that are well timed, that help to drive home your point, emphasize what you're saying, those are super important when you're talking about having that authority and authenticity on camera. Number 7, and this is more of a storytelling thing, is the context bridge. So this is where you remember to invite the viewer into the story. If you're telling a story about yourself, that's great, but you do have to make sure at every moment that there's something that it's leading towards something that involves the viewer. There are storytelling frameworks about how the audience is the hero of the story and all of that stuff. But, that doesn't mean you can't bring yourself into it. You just want to make sure that you are having the viewer see themselves in it, or at least see some value for themselves in where your story is going. And number 8, I demonstrated this earlier, is radical imperfection. This one is important because if we take out all the screw ups, if we have overly polished videos, then they become less believable. And I, for one, am guilty of this. When I edit my videos, I'm always editing out some of the awkward moments. And you know what I've noticed? I get higher views and more comments when I'm not perfect, when I screw up, when I go live and some of my slides are messed up, when I've gone live and there's been no audio, All of those moments that make us human and make the audience go, oh, okay, so she's not perfect, or, oh, I can learn from that. Or I think another really important thing is people seeing how you perform under pressure, how you, recover from something. And if you're making a big deal of it, then they think it's a big deal too. So those imperfections are important. Now, you obviously are the best judge of which imperfections are the ones you leave in. If they question your professional authority or in any way are going to hurt your reputation, no, don't leave those things in. But I'm talking about more of those moments of you being human that you really don't want to strip out of your content. AI is not the problem. AI is here to stay, whether we like it or not. Mastering speaking to a camera in an authentic way is one of those skills that you can't afford not to develop and refine and master. In this age of AI, people are becoming more and more skeptical about what's real, who they can trust, and who just there's something about them that just doesn't add up. So be that person that shows up authentically. I know authenticity is such a buzzword right now, and a lot of us are sort of like wondering what exactly does that mean? To me, authenticity is really just about being you. All the imperfections that come with that, all of the parts of yourself that, maybe come out in little quirks like, do you have a certain hand gesture you use all the time, or do you stumble, or, do you say your R's funny? Like there's so many different things that you might think are weaknesses or things that you want to hide or mask when those can become your real superpowers on camera. If becoming more magnetic on video, looking, sounding, and feeling like a pro in front of a camera is something that you really want to work on and master in 2026, and I would argue you can't afford not to, then check out the description because I have a very short course that will teach you everything you need to know in about 3 hours or less, and it will instantly elevate your next video.